Hi, I'm Mr. C, the teacher, and this is my classroom. So grab your tools for school and join in with us, or sit back and just watch, and let's go on a learning journey together, because you're watching Lessons from the Classroom. Well, let's take a look at what the topic for today's episode is going to be about. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about trees. This one behind me is a western red cedar. So behind me is a monkey puzzle tree. They can live for up to 700 years and grow up to 50 meters in height. The monkey puzzle tree comes from South America along the Andes Mountains, so in places like Peru and Chile. The monkey puzzle tree got its name from the idea that, well, with these leaves being so sharp and pointy, it was going to be a puzzle for monkeys to be able to figure out how to climb up into it. Take a look at these cones as well. This is a mighty Gary oak tree, native to the Vancouver Island area. Look at this branch as it comes down. It's magnificent. It's almost like a giant swing. If you look at the bark on this tree, you'll see there's a number of holes. Those aren't caused naturally. That's been done by a woodpecker.
Oh, come on in.
Pecking away trying to get at the bugs that are underneath the bark in this tree. And this tree, probably full of bugs because, well, if you were to go up to the top of the tree, you'll see this is a dead tree. And if you look at the bark on a tree like this, it's so thick and gnarly, and that's its way of protecting itself in forest fires. But also all these little crevices and gnarls within the bark are ideal for the local little bats. They curl themselves up, and that's where they spend the daytime sleeping. So thick bark like this is its protective layer.
I'm currently standing in, well, a stand of trees. These happen to be Douglas fir trees. A stand of trees is any group of trees that are usually the same. It's a few trees, but not as much as a forest. Trees have distinct parts to them, like a root system, trunks with the bark, and branches. And on the branches, one can find leaves.
It's roots, trunks, branches, and leaves. Once again, roots, trunks, branches, and leaves.
Trees! You know, I love being surrounded by great books, because one of my favorite things to do is to read stories. So, let's make some time right now and read a storybook. This is story time. Franklin plants a tree. Based on characters created by Paulette Bourgeois and Brenda Clark, and read by Mr. C, the teacher. Franklin could climb trees and swing from branches. He liked to play with his friends at the treehouse and go for walks with his family in the woods. So Franklin was excited when he learned that Mr. Heron was giving away trees for Earth Day. He could hardly wait to have his own tree in his own backyard. On Earth Day, Franklin got up early and dug a huge hole
right outside his bedroom window. He wanted to plant his tree as soon as he got home. Tonight he'd invite his friends over to build a new treehouse. Tomorrow he'd look for an old tire and make a swing. Franklin grabbed his wagon and hurried off. He didn't want all the big trees to be taken. In the park, a large crowd was lined up in front of Mr. Heron. Franklin saw lots of boxes, but he didn't see the trees. Maybe they're not here yet, he thought, and then he saw Rabbit leaving. "Don't you want a tree?" Franklin asked. "I have one," Rabbit replied, tapping his knapsack. Franklin was confused. Rabbit reached into his knapsack and pulled out a tiny tree. "That's not a tree," Franklin exclaimed. "That's a twig." "It's a baby tree, Franklin," explained Beaver. "It's called a sapling. Mine's an ash, and Rabbit has an oak." "Well, I'm not getting a sapling," Franklin declared. "My tree has to be big enough to play in today." But when Franklin got to the front of the line, Mr. Heron gave him a sapling the same size as the others. "I have something bigger?" asked Franklin. "This is a sugar maple," replied Mr. Heron. "Many years from now it will be very big indeed." Franklin nodded sadly. He put the sapling in his wagon and walked slowly home. Franklin sighed as he stared at the huge hole in his backyard. He shoveled earth back in until the hole was small, and then he went to get his sugar maple. But the sapling wasn't there. Franklin looked all around, the garden, up and down the laneway. It must have fallen out on the way home, he decided. Lunchtime, Franklin told his parents about losing his tree. "But it doesn't matter," he added. "It wasn't big enough to play in." "Big or little, you promised to care for it," said his father. Franklin slumped down in his chair. "All right," he sighed. "I'll go look again." And followed the path back to the park. By the pond he saw Beaver. Her sapling was tied to a big stick marked with notches. "It's a growth chart," Beaver explained. "In 3 years, my tree will be taller than me." Thought Franklin. He began to look a little harder. So Franklin saw Rabbit with a watering can. "I've planted my sapling where it can get lots of fresh air and sunshine," explained Rabbit, "and I'm going to water it every day," he added. Franklin thought about his sugar maple. If it didn't get sunshine and fresh air and water, it would never be taller than him. Franklin started to hurry. Woods, Franklin saw a bear painting a small fence bright red. Inside it was Bear's sapling. "Protect my pine tree until it's big and strong," Bear explained. "I don't want anyone to step on it by mistake." And thought about someone stepping on his sugar maple. If that happened, it would never grow big and strong and be taller than him. And told Bear everything. "I've looked all over," Franklin moaned. "Now what do I do?" "Someone found your tree and gave it back to Mr. Heron," Bear suggested. Franklin cheered up and ran off to find Mr. Heron. At the park, Franklin saw Mr. Heron packing up boxes. "How's your sapling doing in its new home?" Mr. Heron asked. "I lost my tree, Mr. Heron," Franklin replied. "I've looked everywhere, but I can't find it." And reached into a box and lifted out a sapling. "Is this it, Franklin?" he asked. "Someone found it on the path." "My tree!" cried Franklin. "Thank you, Mr. Heron. I'm going to plant it right away." Mr. Heron smiled. Franklin left. Mr. Heron showed him a photograph. "That's me when I was your age," he explained, "planting my first tree." "Did it grow?" Franklin asked. "It sure did," Mr. Heron laughed. "We're standing under it." Franklin looked way, way up. "You planted the treehouse tree?" he exclaimed. Then Franklin looked down at his sapling. He said thoughtfully. Home, his sapling held safely in his arms. He planted it and watered it, and then he checked on it every day. And every day, Franklin was sure that his tree grew a little taller and a little stronger. Just like Franklin.
Worksheet lessons.
Here we have a worksheet on our plants theme unit. It's called Helpful Trees. Trees help water move. It comes up through their roots and into their trunks. Then it goes out their leaves and into the air. It says 1. Go out on a sunny day. 2. Put a clear plastic bag over a small branch of leaves. Tie the open end of the bag around the branch. 3. Leave the bag. 4. Come back in an hour and look at the bag. Okay, so we're going to do our experiment on transpiration. I've got my plastic bags here to tie onto the branches, and we're going to follow the procedure step by step. Okay, the bag's tied on. We'll come back and take a look at it in a couple of hours. Okay, it's been 1 hour and it's time to check on our transpiration experiment. We set up 3 bags just as a control to the experiment, and we can see that there's quite a lot of moisture already inside the bag. Let's take a closer look.
So let's take the bag off the tree here. And we can see that inside the bag, we've got quite a bit of moisture. And that came out of the leaves of the tree. It's called transpiration.
Bag. What do you see? Well, we could say, you see water. It says, find out how trees help us. Fill in the blanks. Use the words from the word box. We have in the word box, breathe, floods, give, helps, place, trees, and water. Let's look at the sentences. Trees put water into the air. This helps give us rain and water to drink. Trees give off oxygen. We breathe. Oxygen. Tree roots hold soil in its place. This helps us during rains. If too much soil were washed away, there would be floods. Let's read the whole paragraph now. Trees put water into the air. This helps give us rain and water to drink. Trees give off oxygen. We breathe oxygen. Tree roots hold soil in its place. This helps us during rains. If too much soil were washed away, there would be floods. Let's just add some color to the pictures. And there we go. There's our finished version of helpful trees.
Leaves use a process called photosynthesis to make their own food, which is really a type of sugar. And they make it from sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. As a result of photosynthesis, leaves release oxygen into the air, which animals like you and I need to breathe. Some trees like this Japanese maple or some plum trees have a red or burgundy leaf, but most trees have green leaves. Leaves are green because they contain chlorophyll, which is a pigment that absorbs sunlight. In the fall, the chlorophyll breaks down, revealing the other colors of yellows and orange and red that were in the leaves the whole time. But not all leaves are the same shape or the same type. So let's take a closer look at some other kinds of leaves. This is a maple tree.
And when we examine its leaves, we can see one leaf on this stem. We call this a simple leaf.
Other than maple leaf trees, other examples of simple leaves can be found on dogwoods, willow trees, oak trees, and even apple trees.
This is a palm tree. When you look at the leaves on a palm tree, you can see it's not made of just one leaf, but many leaves that come off of one stem. We call this a compound leaf.
In addition to palm trees, we find trees with compound leaves that include horse chestnuts, walnuts, and other types of trees.
This is an evergreen tree, and its leaves are very different from those leaves that we saw that were simple leaves or even compound leaves. Rather than a few dozen leaves on a branch or even a few hundred, there's literally thousands of these leaves on an evergreen tree. The leaves themselves are called needles.
This is just gonna hurt a little bit.
No, not that kind of needle. More like, say, a sewing needle. Because they're narrow and pointy, but they do the same job that other leaves do on trees. They breathe in gases and they release oxygen, and they make food through chlorophyll, that's the green color, and using the sun. But unlike other trees and the simple and compound leaves, they don't turn yellows and reds and oranges in the fall and then drop off. They keep their green color all year long, even through the winter. They're green forever. They're evergreens. Evergreen.
Evergreen trees with needles can include the mighty redwood cedar trees, pine trees, Douglas fir trees, and other cedars. The point is, they remain green forever. Oh, could we get some green in the picture? Oh, that's better.
I'm standing out here in a grove of white bark trees. Look at that beautiful white color on these trees. It reminds me of an art activity that we could do. So let's lead into that segment of Quick Art.
All right, well, it looks like I've got plenty of art supplies and tools on hand, so I guess it's time to do some quick art creations. All right, it's time in our episode for this segment that I like to call the Did You Know Fun Facts.
Did you know?
You know, one of the more fascinating things you can do with a tree is to look at its tree rings.
Oh, you mean like the one on your finger?
No, I don't mean this. This is actually a ring made from a tree. Here, if you come a little closer, I'll explain. Yeah, so this isn't a tree ring. It's a ring made from a tree. In fact, the type of tree wood that this ring is made from is called koa wood. It's a koa tree that grows in Hawaii. They use koa wood to make, well, all sorts of art, jewelry, but also a lot of the time they'll make ukuleles and guitars out of that wood. It's quite a dark colored wood. A ring made from a tree, not a tree ring. A tree ring. See, a tree ring is just a cross-section or a cut of a tree that may have fallen down. See, it's just a thick slice of a tree. But what's really cool about a tree ring is it lets you look at the inside of the tree. And on the inside of the tree, you can see, well, concentric circles or rings. Take a closer look and I'll show you. You see, each ring within the tree stands for a year in the life of the tree. There's actually kind of two rings or lines. There's a lighter colored one, which is usually thicker. That represents a better growing time for the tree. It's probably during the seasons when the weather's a little warmer, it's getting lots of sunlight, lots of water, right? It's able to produce a lot of food and grow, and so it's represented by the thicker, lighter colored line. The darker line, which is narrower, tends to represent that time of season when the tree struggles to grow, usually winter. And the ground might be frozen, there might be lots of cold snow on the ground and cold air. And the tree's maybe lost its leaves. It's not producing food, and so it grows a little bit less. But if you count each ring, whether it be the light one or the dark one, it counts for 1 year in that tree's life. And you start from the center when the tree was just a baby sapling. Let's count the rings and see how old this tree is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51.
And we have a lot of really thin lines here. Really struggled.
52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62.
Wow, this tree's older than me. It lived for well over 60 years before a windstorm knocked it down here on our schoolyard. Scientists can study a tree ring from a tree that's lived for a long time and really get an idea of when that tree struggled, maybe through some very dry years where there was very little rain, or very, very long cold winters, or years where the tree got lots of food and water and sunlight. It grew quite a bit. As the tree got older, it may have struggled compared to the early days of its life because maybe climate change caused warmer or drier conditions for the tree, making it harder to grow. Of course, we don't count the outer bark on the tree. Tree rings, they're cool.
Now you know! More worksheet lessons.
And here we have a worksheet for our plants theme unit. It's called The Biggest Plants. Trees are the biggest plants. Label the parts of the giant sequoia tree. Use words from the word box. Here's our word box. Has words like area, cone, leaves, live, parks, roots, thick, and trunk. This little person says, giant sequoias don't have flowers or fruit like some trees. They have cones. So let's label the pictures. Here, we have a picture of a cone. Here, we have the tree's needles, which are also known as its leaves. Thin, pointy leaves. And here, this big part of the tree is the trunk. And right at the bottom here, we've got the roots. Now, here at the bottom part, it says, fill in the blanks with words from the word box to find out about the giant sequoia. Number 1, its roots can take up as much area as 3 football fields. Wow. All these roots here can take up as much area as 3 football fields. Number 2, its bark is very thick. Number 3, this tree may live for more than 3,000 years. And number 4, all giant sequoias in parks are protected by laws.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. I'm going to make like a tree and leave.
Oh boy.
Did you guys see what I did there? Make like a tree and leave like I gotta go, and trees make leaves.
Yeah, sure, Mr. C.
See what I did?
Oh, would you just go already?
Well, thanks for joining me, and I hope you learned something new and had fun doing the lessons. Join me next time on another episode of Lessons from the Classroom.